There we go. Couldn't have written that better.
It was almost
What's the point of rehearsing anything? Coming up, would everybody just benefit from a little bit more training? Hello and welcome to IDCom's MediaSnack, episode 83. So today is all about training.
Yeah.
Training is, I think, the last area we're going to look at when we consider the change since the publication of the ANA's transparency report.
That's right, you've been doing some training. We're about
doing some training.
We're about to give some training,
Yep.
and clients keep talking about training.
That's right. All coming up in MediaSnack in just the time it takes to eat a sandwich. Okay, let's talk about training. So we mentioned, we're considering the progress made on the back of the ANA's media transparency report last year, and transparency is in the title, but it was about way more than transparency. We've been talking about 6 other areas where we think it's had an impact and will continue to create change in the industry. One of those is in training, and what we mean by that is, skills and knowledge and learning and being better at media. One of the interesting things that the ANA report called out, very specifically in the guidelines, was that acknowledged that gaps in media knowledge on the market, on the advertiser side, was one of the biggest contributing factors to some of the mess that it kind of uncovered.
That's right. I mean, the rallying cry was to bring back control. For marketeers to take back control of media, and in order to do that, the marketers themselves need to be as an informed perspective as possible to make the right kind of decisions. And as the media has changed so rapidly, some of the capabilities internally, even within well-established media departments, perhaps weren't there. And so the default was to empower the agencies to make those decisions for them. And that again came back to the marketeers. Be better informed to make those kind of decisions. And that comes with capability training. Yeah,
which we've seen quite a lot of. I mean, I don't think there hasn't been a kind of rush in demand for new media, media knowledge and media skills. Or maybe we haven't seen it so much, but when we do quite a lot of training, and there's definitely been an increased demand from a broader spectrum as well, not just from media people, but from more senior marketers, and definitely more interest from procurement stakeholders as well, at different levels of gaining kind of new media knowledge and skills. So there's been definitely a bigger interest in gaining that kind of knowledge. I'm hoping that that's just the beginning of a bigger interest across the industry in learning about media, because it's not like everybody's asking the question.
But what I've seen a big change in is not training in perhaps the traditional way, where you're sitting in a classroom or in a lecture theatre and being taught to. It's the way that internal media communities within organisations that have media communities already established are beginning to sort of share learnings and best practice. So kind of raising the bar of their own understanding of media just by using the assets and the intelligence that they've got internally. So, brands that have kind of for a while been embracing the value of having a media community internally, really making that a powerful kind of lever for increased capability.
And stop making the same mistakes, like particularly as companies are innovating in media. You can go to a particular market and they tell you that they are, trialing, let's just say Snapchat, for example, if they haven't used that before, and they're getting learnings. And then you find out that there's 7 other countries in the world that have already done that and have already tried it, tested, learned, figured out what works for their product. And that could have been shared so much better. This idea of capturing shared learnings, and not as case studies. We're not talking about like award entry case studies that says, there was like a 3,000 increase in like awareness or something, or intent. These are business cases. What did we do? What happened? What did we learn? How can we make this better for the future? And have some commentary around it is really, I think, really helpful. And then when we work with internal media communities, some of it is training, but often there's a lot of workshopping, people trying to kind of like make decisions together, learn together.
But it's about understanding also where the consistencies and gaps lie. So perhaps there are pockets of lack of knowledge which can be filled with expertise in from other markets.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, there are consistencies in gaps, and that's where you go and kind of source intelligence from either your agency partners or third parties.
Yeah.
And but being proactive in that is what I think I tend to see more of in the last sort of 12 months.
Yeah, it's good. So a good upward trend there, and definitely the appetite for knowledge. So I've been doing a bit of learning, and we continue to do training, but we've got some interesting training coming up in a few weeks. So I have today. I've just completed what's called the Mini MBA, which is a course run by Professor Mark Ritson, which was kind of interesting. I signed up slightly on a whim because I thought it'd be interesting just to maybe understand some basics of marketing. I have to say, it's absolutely been a complete eye-opener. Thank you, Mark. Because even having spent 20 years in the industry, we are specialists in media, which is a highly kind of complex but a quite tactical discipline. To be able to really put that into context of a strategic marketing process and really understand how marketers are thinking has been fascinating. And so I highly recommend it. If you see that kind of advertised, it's called the Mini MBA, it's brilliant. Mark completely ruined my weekend by setting an actual MIT MBA paper for us as a class, which is brilliant, but agonizingly painful to do and requires so much work.
But that's a really good point. I mean, do you think that understanding kind of marketing in its broadest principles is something that the agency community could benefit from?
It would definitely benefit, because I think our observation a bit has been there are marketers, those trained marketers that really know how to do this stuff, and actually their outputs are strategic. They can brief well, they set really clear objectives, they know how to measure stuff, like it all makes sense. There are a whole bunch of marketers, perhaps not marketing trained, who displayed like bad behaviours. So just getting structured kind of marketing thinking to enable you to brief your external partners and agencies better is a great thing. But also I think more on the executional side, definitely at agencies, and even more so in the more newer disciplines. So certainly in digital disciplines, certainly in programmatic, certainly other places, social particularly. I don't think there's enough understanding of just basic marketing principles. Based on some kind of sessions that I've sat in of other people's training recently, some of the way that, and they're very bright, amazingly bright and talented people, for example, social media specialists or programmatic media specialists, talking about things as if they're like new concepts, and you go, well, hang on, this is stuff that reach and frequency is not a programmatic concept. Phasing is not a programmatic concept. That's marketers call that flighting or something else. There's a huge benefit, I think, if there's a little bit more of kind of mutual understanding, and so opportunities for mutual learning or sharing. It would be, I think, such a great step forward for the industry, as long as there's appetite on both sides.
I mean, that's interesting, right? Because we tend to focus on the brand side to kind of improve capabilities and knowledge. But actually, there's an opportunity also from the agency community to begin to understand better how to integrate with their marketing colleagues. So the final thing on training, we publish quarterly reports, as you might be aware. One of the areas we've looked at is media training, which is this lovely kind of red-pink thing. You can, we'll provide a link to it. In fact, we did a special MediaSnack, I think, just about this report and the findings. So we'll link back to that. I mean, the key thing that stood out of that was that 96%, so pretty much everybody that we asked, and bear in mind this is 150 marketers around the world and agency executives, 96% believe that competitive advantage in marketing can be achieved by investing in media knowledge. So there you have it. It's all about media. Learn some more. That's all for this week. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now. Have a good weekend.